Shmita, Yovel, and the politics of hope. Torah, milk, and justice. This is a drash on Parashat Behar by me, Martin Rawlings-Fein, and welcome to Nachas. This Parashat Behar centers us in radical ideas of justice and liberation, and Shmita, the sabbatical year, and Yovel, the jubilee year. These are not abstract ideas. They're blueprints for a world that we're still trying to build. The Torah says in two different verses, "And the land shall rest a Sabbath unto Adonai," Leviticus 25:2, "and proclaim liberty throughout the land for all its inhabitants," Leviticus 25:10. This isn't just about agriculture. It's about equity. It's about repair. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, of blessed memory, called Behar a revolutionary template for a society of justice, freedom, and human dignity. And when I read this parsha, I also think about another revolutionary, Harvey Milk, of blessed memory. Now, some may be taken aback. I dared to mention Sacks and Milk in the same sentence. After all, didn't Sacks once tell the Jewish Chronicle at Judaism, "We don't do it," referring to the incompatibility of Judaism being LGBTQ? As people age and their stories change, so do the outlooks on life. Later in his life, Sacks made it clear that homophobia was never acceptable, stating that no one should be discriminated against, victimized, or intimidated because of their sexuality. Milk's birthday is celebrated every May 22nd as Harvey Milk Day here in California, and his legacy is not just political, it's prophetic. He, too, called for freedom of all inhabitants of the land. And like the Torah's radical call to reset society every 7 and 49 years, Milk's vision was about breaking cycles of repression, shame, and silence. Now, I was just in Anaheim back in May for the California Democratic Party's convention. And it reminded me I've never known a time when I wasn't political. I know. My body is political. My bi, plus, and trans identities are political. Milk do that too. He said coming out is the most political thing you can do. That line still hits. He wasn't asking us to assimilate. Milk was asking us to transform the system by being unapologetically ourselves. That's what Behar is doing. Shmita tells us, let the land go fallow. The Midrash in Vayikra Rabbah 1:1 teaches that just like God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, so must the land rest every seventh year. It draws a direct link between human dignity and the sanctity of creation. Another Midrash, Sifra Behar 1:1, emphasizes that the laws of the land are not only practical, but a form of divine empathy. That the poor, the stranger, even the animals are all granted access to the fruits of the land. In Shmita, the Midrash sees God's justice manifest in daily life. Let debts be erased. Let the earth and the people breathe. Yovel tells us to go further, restore what was taken, free what was been bound, return what has been displaced. When I teach this text to my 4th through 7th graders, I love sharing the image that in the Shmita year, the whole field becomes like Peah, the corner left for people experiencing poverty. The Talmud reminds us, you can get it in 36a, that the laws of release are rooted in compassion. Yipnei tikkun ha'olam, for the sake of repairing the world. And in Sanhedrin 74a, we learn that when a decree targets identity, who a person is, rather than behavior, what they do, we are obligated to resist. That's precisely what Milk understood. Our adventures, our identities are sacred. Our identities are sacred. And when targeted, we must rise in resistance and solidarity. But now, it's not just a corner. The whole harvest is for the people. It's the system itself that yields, not just the margins. That kind of redistribution is what Milk is fighting for. He said, it takes no compromise to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no political deal to give people freedom. He was reminding us dignity shouldn't be transactional. Even here in California, we're still battling discrimination. We may have marriage equality, but Prop 8's hurtful language, marriage is only between a man and a woman, was still in the California Constitution to be repealed in November of 2024, where we repealed it once and for all. It's like going back every 49 years to restore what was taken or broken, to say, this isn't who we are anymore. It's time to reclaim what was denied. That's the Yovel spirit. That's what Harvey Milk was doing when he fought against the Briggs Initiative in 1978. A proposition that would have banned LGBTQ teachers from our schools. His campaign beat back hatred with hope. Milk once said, all young people, regardless of sexual orientation or identity, deserve a safe and supportive environment in which to achieve their full potential. That is the same vision that Behar is calling us to make the land safe, supportive, and shared. And let's remember that Jubilee isn't just a spiritual reset, it's a social one. Land was returned, people freed, debts released. Milk's vision echoed liberation, not tolerance. Full rights, not symbolic inclusion. He didn't fight for scraps. He fought for joy, for the right to dance in the streets and to teach in the classroom. I often think about how his murder rocked the city. And while so many gathered in mourning, not all responded with compassion. Talmud magazine in 2020 quoted Haredi Rabbi Avigdor Miller, a figure of influence in some Orthodox circles, who shockingly defended the assassination of Harvey Milk, saying a decent Gentile got up and shot him because he's spreading homosexuality. That statement is not just hurtful and hateful, it's a desecration of Torah. It is the antithesis of what we learn in Behar, where human dignity is restored, land is released, and no one is to be held captive, literally or ideologically. We are commanded in the Torah over and over again. You shall not wrong one another. You shall fear your God. Leviticus 25:17. To celebrate murder in the name of religious piety is a distortion of everything Judaism calls sacred. Shar Zahav, my synagogue, was barely getting started when Milk was assassinated. The Shabbat afterward, Dover Hall at the Women's Building was packed. Steady room only, before we had our own space. And it was all to mourn him, to stand together, and to recite the Kaddish, to be a community in the face of tragedy. That's our legacy at Shar Zahav. And it's still our charge. When I talk to younger activists, trans youth and queer kids and bi plus teens, I hear echoes of Milk's plea. You got to give them hope. Hope isn't passive. Hope demands courage. Hope is a verb. And like Shmita, hope is built into the Jewish calendar. The next Shmita year will begin in the Jewish year of 5789, corresponding to September 20th, 2028 through September 9th, 2029. It may seem far off, but the seeds of the sacred pause are planted now. It's how we live, lead, and love. Every cycle is a call to recommit to justice. Every 7th year, every 49th year. A sacred interruption in business as usual. An instance that people matter more than profits. That land is not a commodity. And that every soul deserves dignity. Rabbi Sacks wrote, to be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in the world, serially threatened by despair. Every ritual, every mitzvah, every syllable of the Jewish story is a protest against escapism, resignation, or the blind acceptance of fate. Judaism is a sustained struggle against the world that is, in the name of the world that could be, should be, but is not yet. Milk said, hope will never be silent, and neither can we. So as we hold Parashat Behar in one hand and the memory of Milk in the other, let us recommit to building a world where dignity is not negotiable, where land, bodies, and identities are honored, where no one is left behind. May we let this land rest. May we let our communities breathe. May we be bold enough to imagine jubilee and loud enough to fight for it. Can you hear out some? May this be God's will, and may it be our will too. Shabbat shalom.